Hello everyone. How are you doing? Good? All right. Cool. So today I'm going to talk about our work on the mobile application at Zopa. I'm just going to show you, I'm just checking the microphone. I'm just going to show you where we went and what we've done so far, and different tools and different features we have inside the application to help us actually reaching a point where we are proud of the quality of our work and proud of what we've done, and how you can apply that on your project. So a long time ago, we started a mobile application, which is this prototype. I think Isa is here, and he's seen that, he's built that prototype. So basically, it was a very simple React Native application to allow you to get a quote inside the application, to apply for a loan, and basically to keep track of your application. It was very simple. It did a good job. It worked pretty well. But it wasn't what Zopa wanted. It was more like a prototype, something we wanted to see if Zopa would be able to create a mobile application pretty fast and see if we can integrate with our system. So we went back and we discussed a little bit about what do we actually need. As a company, what do we need? What do our customer need? So what they want is to be able to see the project, which is either a loan or an investment today. It might actually be, in the future, our next banking project, like the deposit account or credit card. They might also want to see aggregated data about their project. So maybe you can get data from your different bank accounts, or maybe you can have an idea how much money you have, how much money you own or owe to Zopa or anywhere else. But they also want to access the personal data. They want to see their profile, their addresses, to be able to update them if they need to. For us, proud Zopian, so we are Zopian employees of Zopa, what we wanted is a mobile application where each project team can plug the project inside the mobile application. So you will have a core application and you have project features inside the application. So we wanted to let each project team, each developers inside each project team, to be able to plug their project and make it work pretty easily. So the company is divided by tribe and squads. I don't know if you know this model. It's basically the Spotify model for Scrum and Agile. So a tribe is more like a project team, and squads are sub-teams inside the project team. And each team basically have their own designers, their own developers, and project managers, etc. Which means we have different mobile developers in different teams. So what we thought would be, okay, we need an application, a way for the teams to plug their project. What if we build an operating system? No, I'm kidding. What if we build a hub, basically where each application, each project basically have their own sub-application inside our application? So that's basically what we did. And I'm going to show you the home screen of the Zopa application. So this is how it looks like today. You might not have all the projects if you download the Zopa application, but basically what we have is a home screen where you can see different projects. So you can see the Zopa project, and you can also Zopa project, and you can see the connected accounts, for example. So we're working on a feature called money management, which allows you to connect your bank accounts. And you can also see aggregated data from your different bank accounts, from your different Zopa product. So it will be on a different tab on the application. So to do that, what we didn't want to do was to import every single project inside the home screen and to display them to the user. That's not the way we wanted it to be. We didn't want the home screen to be aware of anything related to any project. What we wanted is to have the home screen like a host. So it's a host for Zopa and non-Zopa application. Zopa and non-Zopa product. It doesn't know anything about projects, and it basically has a contract between the different projects and the home screen itself. So how does that work in terms of code? I guess you wonder. It's very straightforward. So what we have is the loans project, for example, makes a call, retrieve the projects from their API, and they inject it in Redux. And the home screen basically just reads the Redux store and displays the project. So each project of our company, each investment, credit cards, goes through this path, and they inject their data inside the Redux store, and the home screen reads them and displays them to the user. So I have a JSON file of how this looks like. I simplified it a little bit, but this is basically how it is. So they inject the project. You can define an icon, a category, a priority, or you want to rank your project inside the home screen, where you want to navigate to once you click on the project, and more details about the data you want to display. That's basically how Hub works. So how is everything structured? So we have project packages. So our project packages are loans, investment, credit cards. So all the projects that Zopa provide to our customers. They are completely independent from each other. They don't know anything about each other. And the goal is basically to have completely separated separated code base, so they can, basically you don't want to have spaghetti code and to have back and forth between the different projects. So they are kind of isolated from the rest of the application, from the rest of the other projects. And then we have core packages. The core packages are the home screen, the sign-in screen, profile. So everything that is not related to a project live in their own package. And again, they are completely separated. They are isolated, so the home screen only takes care of the home screen, and the profile screen only takes care of the profile screen. So what happens is, if the loans wants to inject something in the home screen, basically they consume the package home screen, and they add their data on the home screen. So far, so good? Cool. All right. So we also have another set of packages, which is our libraries. So the mobile application uses a set of libraries that we created just for the mobile application, which is used by both project packages and core packages. And they are like NPM packages that we use locally on our code base. So those are, for example, the notification system, analytics, our UI component library, etc. And we also have shared library packages. So we have a monorepo that we share with all the projects, all the teams across Zopa. And because we want everything to be the same, like form data validation, data formatting, our TS-lint rules, JES rules, API interfaces, everything is in one place, so we don't have to rebuild everything again and again. All right, so this leads us to a code base that's completely structured by features and not categorized like you might see in most times. it helps us to refactor our code much easier because you can basically switch on and switch off a feature the way you want. And you can create a new feature. Let's say I want to have a version 2 of the investment project. And basically you can create a new folder, investment v2, and you add all your components and all your logic inside this folder, and you can decide to switch on it or not, as long as the contract with the core packages stays the same. So this concept of structuring by feature helped us to actually enable and disable features on the fly or on the build time right now. And actually, this is very important for us, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more after. So feature branching is something that everyone does on the project. They need to create a new branch to work on their feature and to merge them to the master branch or the develop branch. I'm pretty sure everyone does the same thing. So that's what we did. That's what we wanted us to do. So you create your feature, you work on it, and then you merge it to the main branch. But one issue we had was sometimes you branch and the feature branch stays there for weeks or months. And I mean, the other developers are working on the main branch and they are actually adding new features. And at some point, I mean, you keep rebasing, but you've added so much code in your feature branch that it's super difficult the day you want to merge back to the develop branch. And to give you a story, when we added a feature which was a loan repayment on our mobile application, I think it took the developer more than a week to merge back to the main branch because there were so many conflicts and so many changes that has been done by the developer, and thousands of lines of code were created that it was very difficult for us to actually merge back. And we wanted to avoid that because it's difficult to maintain. It's difficult to continue working when these kind of issues happen. So what we've decided to introduce is feature flags. I don't know if any of you use feature flags. Yes? No? I'm just going to give a quick overview what feature flags are about. They basically allow you to enable and disable a feature from your code base. So you can merge your code even though the feature is not done. So you can start working on the feature and you modify your code later and you merge and you continue working on your feature. And because your feature is hidden behind a feature flag, nobody cares. I mean, as long as you don't break anything, you can work behind your feature flag as long as you want. And that's something we needed to work on our new banking project. Because we want the credit card feature, for example, to be available for some customers or for some people, but we didn't want everyone to be able to see it. And we didn't want to have a huge feature branch that lasts for 6 months because the feature is not ready for everyone. Another good advantage of feature flags is incremental rollout. So like I said, if you want to only have your feature available for a subset of people, you can just do it. You can decide to enable. You can use a tool, or you can do it on your own. So in our case, we started with a very basic way to enable and disable feature flags. It's just a simple configuration file where we decide, okay, I want this feature, I don't want this feature. And so you turn on or turn off different features. So for our beta users, everything is turned on and they can use all the features. But for general availability, you cannot use all the features. You can only use a few of them. So this is pretty simple to implement in your code base. You can just have a conditional rendering, for example, for React, where you decide to render a navigation item, for example, if the feature flag is turned on or if it's turned off. If the navigation item is not there, there is no way for you to access the screen. So basically, you don't have any issue, unless you use sagas and stuff like that. But I'm going to talk about that after. So this allowed us to go from long-lived branches to actually merging as fast as we can. So we can create a branch, work on it for a week, or maybe a few days, or maybe even a few hours, get it reviewed by our developers, and then we merge it back. And if it's behind the feature flags, there is no worry to have about, as long as you don't touch existing code that is available in GA. So we can do as many feature branches as we want, and we merge them back. However, merging often forces you to actually check your code as much as you can. You cannot just merge and pray that it's going to work. You need to be confident about what you merge, and that's why we have plenty of tools and libraries to help us keeping our code base as the best quality as it can be. So every time we create a pull request, we run some sanity check, like running jest, running TypeScript, lint. We're running a few different tests. We also have detox tests whenever we run them every day to make sure that nobody broke any screen. So it's more like our integration test. We also use Appium for QA testing, which is end-to-end test with our UAT environment. And we have code quality tools, make sure the code is still working with SonarQube, with Sentry for crash reporting. Jenkins is our continuous integration tool, and we use an on-site mic server to generate our build. So we are not using anything like VS App Center or Bitrise, because we're becoming a bank and we cannot have our tools on the cloud. And App Center and TestFlight is only used for beta distribution. So with feature flags, our next goal was to have remote feature flags, which means you can toggle your feature flags from internet. And that's where things get complicated. So as you can imagine, if I want to turn off the money management feature, so it means I need to remove items from the home screen because I've injected them before on Redux, and now I need to remove them. How can I do that? I need to remove items everywhere I injected my project or my feature. It can be in any core package. It can be on the home screen. It can be on the help screen, on the profile screen. Depends where you injected your project. And that's complicated to actually hide and show features where you have conditional elements everywhere, especially when the data comes remotely. So you never know when it's going to come. You never know if it's going to be in 1 second or 10 seconds, depends on the network of the user. It might even never come if the internet connection is gone. So you also need to disable background tasks. So if you use Redux Saga like us, our sagas are running in the background, and they are running as you open the app. So if a certain project like loans gets disabled, it means we also need to remove the sagas running, which is a bit complicated. And what about if we were on the project screen? So you tap on that card, open the project, and then suddenly we remotely disable the feature. What should happen? Should we navigate the user outside to go back on the home screen? Should we don't do anything? If the code disappears suddenly, it will be complicated. It might break the application. So that's where things get complicated. So one decision that we took is not to do any of this, and to only fetch the data when you open the app, and to apply your feature flag straight when you open the app. And you never change the value of the feature flags later on. You only apply them at boot time. So this prevents us from actually having some weird bugs because we disable the feature flag on the fly, or to disable the background task because we already disabled them when you open the app. And Yes, you apply, like I just said, you apply them when you open the app on the current session. So this forces us to know if a certain user needs to have access or not about the feature flag. So we know which member is logged in, which member is not logged in when they open the app, so we can decide if they are allowed to access the feature flag or not, the feature itself. The next thing I wanted to talk about is continuous deployment, because if we use feature flag today, it's because we want to reach that point where everything is automated from the time you create the pull request and you merge that pull request to the time it goes to the customers. I don't know how many of you have this actually. How many? Yes, one? A few. But it's quite complicated to reach. Especially when you build more and more features inside the application and you want to make sure the quality is there and you get more customers using your application, so you need to be confident about what you're doing. So what we have today, we reach that point, which is more continuous integration. So we were able to automate TypeScript check, TS-lint, unit test when you create your pull request. We automate the integration test, UI test with Detox, and we also generate a build automatically when all the tests are actually passing. And then when you reach QA, we have half automated and half manual testing. So our QA team is working on automating all the tests, but we still have some manual tests, especially for new features, the time for them to catch up. So when we reach that point where every QA test are automated, it means we will be able to also maybe run them on production as well to make sure everything works with our production environment and to release to our customers on a maybe fortnightly basis or something like that. So we use the latest version of React, the latest version of React Native, and I think it's the latest version of React Navigation and TypeScript. We're actually already experimenting with 3.5. I think it's really important for us to stay up to date because we don't want to reach a point where we are 6 months behind and it gets very complicated to actually migrate to that new version. Usually you spend weeks or maybe months trying to catch up. So that's something we're trying to aim for. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you.